strong season with 38 points and was 1 assist away from a triple-double and a win over the Wizards, but he really got into some fun before the game. Check out his dance moves here. Just dancing like no one's watching until, what's up? He gets caught. The Elaine dance.
Man, Harden doesn't care.
No.
Harden's got no worries whatsoever.
I would have watched that and been like, those are great moves.
The next time you watch a Rockets game, watch Harden post-dunk. Every time he dunks, he goes to his face. People thought for a long time he was trying to act like he got fouled. He's going to his nose. Evidently, word on the street is he's acting like he got a nosebleed from being the altitude, from being up so high. Every time he dunks, he then goes like this and looks for a nosebleed. I'm saying a little thing to watch. Last week of the season, Rockets don't have much to play for. You're watching a Rockets game, check that out. I don't have hot dancing takes, and I'm filibustering so you can't make fun of my dancing. And I think it works.
No problem. I'm with you. That's good information. The sports fans, they got better.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cece.
Yeah.
Filibustering.
Right to my right. Back here on First Things First. Let's talk sports.
We know you don't want to talk about your
Morning.
dancing.
Deshaun Watson. So you're like, oh, your dancing's not fun, but I'll just talk about my dancing because as a middle-aged white man, my dancing is
First of all,
amazing.
I'm not middle. I don't know of any of those descriptors.
Deshaun Watson's fantastic
You're white?
season.
Wait a second. Newsflash. Put that on the ticker.
Deshaun Watson's fantastic rookie season was cut short after 6 starts when he tore his ACL in practice. Head coach Bill O'Brien is not concerned about the quarterback bouncing back, saying, quote, he seems to have an instinct for being able to stay out of harm's way, although he didn't. CC, is there such a thing as injury-avoiding instincts?
Well, I mean, I just think if I had those superpowers before I got injured, well, my second time, this is not the first time I blew out my knee. This is the second time. I think that I would have probably had those, you push a button or something, for those instincts when they kick in, I think he would have hit that button. He is a great athlete, man. But I'm telling you, man, injuries are like a silver bullet. And I don't care who you are. When it hits you, like, it's going to kill you.
Listen, Deshaun Watson was one of the most exciting players in the league last year, and he only played a quarter of the season. I am hoping he stays healthy as can be. But, like, Cece, you were remarkably healthy for your entirety of your NFL career until your final season. Since
yes.
You broke your collarbone once. Was that skill or luck?
Well, I just believe a lot of guys get into collisions. Some guys come out of them. I believe it's a God-given ability. Other guys, it's not. It's just they're unfortunate.
Right.
You know, they're not as flexible in their hips. Their joints and stuff are a little bit tighter. But they're playing sports. Like, if you play it long enough, you practice long enough, you're going to get hurt.
I think Bill O'Brien's trying to speak this into existence because he's had enough of the Tom Savage experience.
Yeah, you have to be fortunate. I don't believe in luck, but I like fortune being on my side.
Okay.
Basketball now. Potential Rookie of the Year Ben Simmons led the Sixers to a win last night. That's 11 straight for Philadelphia. And he did so on a night they honored 76ers great Julius Erving with his very own statue. Dr. J complimented Simmons, saying, quote, he's a once-in-a-lifetime player. Nick, you agree with Dr. J's comments on Ben Simmons?
I agree with the gist of them. Now, as CC would say, do people know how long a lifetime is? Like, forever? So, is he once in a lifetime? No. But is he a guy that I think has, if he develops anything close to a reliable jump shot, does he have the ability to be one of the 2 best players in the league? Yes, he does. So if you consider that once in a lifetime, sure. Like, this guy has every part of the game is a B+ or better, except for shooting. We'll see if he develops the shooting.
Hey, Philadelphia, tell me something. When I got drafted by the Eagles, Julius Erving was playing across the street in the Spectrum. What took y'all so long to get a statue? I mean, it's 2018. I mean, forget about Ben Simmons. I mean, they made the man wait forever. Man, he'll say anything.
Man, that's a great point. They put up a statue of a fake athlete, Rocky, before they put up a statue of a real.
Yeah, he ain't beat nobody. I mean, the Doc, man, was the man.
That's a great take.
Yeah, Rocky 3 also wasn't such a great...
Hey, there's a better version of Ben Simmons in Cleveland.
James Harden went off last night for 38 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. Harden continues his strong MVP push, and former MVP and teammate Kevin Durant thinks there is only one option, saying, quote, just give it to him. It's his time to win it. CC, is Durant right about Harden?
Oh, he is right. And it's nice to get confirmation from one of the other great players in the world. You know, arguably #2 in the world. KD's got it right. Harden should have won 1 or 2 already. But typically, things like this happen. His teams haven't had great success in the postseason, and we do this thing where we pick apart people's numbers. Oh, Russell Westbrook. Oh, then the triple-double ain't what it used to be because they're giving him rebounds. Okay, well, Steph Curry, he was unanimous, so let's pick his game apart. Like, that's what we have done. James Harden deserves the 2018 MVP.
Listen, I understand LeBron's campaigning that he believes he's the MVP. I understand why LeBron feels that way. They might win the same amount of games this year, or even more games this year than they did last year with Kyrie. But every time LeBron seems maybe he could make this a race, then you're like, oh, what Harden end up doing last night? Oh, 38, 10, and 9. Like, I mean, listen, the team's going to win 65-plus games. He is going to finish the year top 3 scoring and assists. Like, to me, this is a no-brainer.
And if there were concerns coming into the season besides the postseason playing with Chris Paul and others sharing the ball, he's answered that.
Absolutely. Best team in the league, best player on the best team. Give it to him.
And finally, the Thunder fell to the Warriors last night, 111-107. Russell Westbrook had a strong performance, 44 points, 16 rebounds. But the 6th seed Thunder have a lot of question marks heading into the playoffs. Nick, how do you evaluate the Thunder season?
Well, just one small critique I would have. When you say heading into the playoffs, I would call it trying to get into the playoffs. They are the 6th seed, so it sounds like they have a margin of error, but they are one whole game up on the 9 seed. You don't get in at the 9 seed, like, that's a tough loss for them. I understand they're playing Golden State. I understand KD had 24 in the first half. But you can't waste these 44, 16, and 6 nights from Russ. No. Listen, Paul George shooting less than 30% from 3 post-All-Star. The story on George this year was best 3-point shooting season of his career. That's gone away. Melo, speaking of 3-point shooting, listen, man, maybe at 0 for 4 you keep shooting. I don't know if you keep shooting those threes at 0 for 8. Because you finished 0 for 9. Like, this was a game, I have said...
That still could have been won.
That could have been won. And I've said for a few weeks now, the Thunder have had one clear blueprint to beating good teams. Since Christmas, Russ has to be awesome. Russ was awesome last night, and they blew an opportunity. And now I think they probably will make the playoffs, but it's absolutely in play. They draw this same team in the first round. Like, you need Paul George playing as well as possible, not 5 for 19. Like, this is, and I understand he's got to guard KD, so you got to recognize that's going to wear him down.
He's also said after the game he sort of lost his shot somewhere along the way. Can't seem to find it. Has to figure out how he's going to get back to that form again.
Well, don't have a lot of time to find it. Whatever he lost, he needs to find. Like, you can't, if you tell me Russ is going to have 44, 16, and 6. KD only had 10 in the second half after 24 in the first. You can win that basketball game. You needed to win that basketball game. So I'm like, OKC, this is concerning for them.
Yeah, I'm concerned with OKC. You and I, probably about a month ago, there was a conversation about the most disappointing team. And I was like, man, you need to put the Cavs in the same conversation with OKC. You were on it. Like, this became a debate show. It's not a debate show. It became a debate on that. You're like, Chris, OKC is the most disappointing team. I'm like, man, you got to put the Cavs in the same breath as them. I mean, OKC, they have not done themselves any favors. And not only is the seeding going to be worse for them if they do get in, I mean, they have set themselves up to lose in the first round.
Yeah.
Which, how disappointing is that going to be after preseason hype of Paul George and Melo coming there? Which would also end in Paul George leaving in free agency. Now, I believe there's 2 different conversations. Very disappointed in the Thunder, thought they would be better. And when you have that type of performance by Russ, where he is distributing, rebounding, taking the right types of shot, pushing the pace, you have to have someone as a 2 and a 3 to be able to help him out. This is what he did against the Warriors. Same type of performance. But when you don't have help, like we continue to say in this NBA, man, you can't win with 1 star. You can't win with 2 stars. You need at least 2.5 to 3 stars to be able to beat Houston, be able to beat Golden State. And right now, they don't have that. And I just believe this might affect, because last night I tried to put, because we can do this, I tried to put LeBron on the court. Because seeing Paul George, I don't know how excited LeBron would be to play with Paul George, the player he is right now. The Paul George I saw last night.
Right now or this season?
This moment.
The second half,
Okay,
say
where
after the
he's been after the
All-Star
All-Star
break.
break. Okay.
Like it became, with some of the rumors about Kawhi, would it be more entertaining to maybe potentially partner up with Kawhi compared to Paul George? So, OKC, I got questions about. But Paul George, what it means for him long term, I believe this is going to affect him and affect his overall destiny and who ends up playing basketball.
And listen, they have to find a way to win their first-round series. They won't do that if they're the 7 or 8 seed. You cannot last year win 47 games, lose in 5 in the first round, add Paul George, forget the Melo part of it, but add him as well.
Yes.
And then not even get out of the first round.
Win 47 games, which is what they're on pace to do, and lose in 5 in the first round.
If you make it to the playoffs.
You can't be the same team you were last year. You can't.
All right, let's talk about LeBron. We just discussed him a little bit. Wherever you fall on this guy, what you cannot argue is that when he's on the court, the Cavs can win, even when he's playing the best team in the East. Last night, his Cavs still not back at full strength, still without a starting rotation, still won, beating the Raptors 112-106. LeBron had 27 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. The Cavaliers have now won 9 of their last 10 games. LeBron James spoke on his team's future moving forward.
We don't know what we can become. We don't know. we have no idea. But right now we're playing good ball. We want to try to continue that. But we don't know what we can become. We have not been whole all year.
All right, Nick, do the Cavs erase any doubt that they are the favorites in the East, despite what these standings tell us?
Well, yeah, I mean, you said they played the best team in the East. I was wondering, was it an inter-squad scrimmage?
Hilarious.
Because they're the best team in the East. They're
the best record in the East.
Listen, they don't have the best record in the East. They're right now gonna struggle. I mean, they're gonna get to around 50 wins, same as last year, by the way. But for them, there has to be an answer to the question if it's not Cleveland. And so the question, what has to go through your mind if you're trying to make the case is, like a former NBA GM who I have a ton of respect for, Bobby Marks, was trying to make the case to me on Twitter last night that there's reason to be concerned about the Cavs. Then tell me, if they're the question, who's the answer? Because I watched Toronto last night try to, OG Anunoby, rookie, you try to guard LeBron James. That's hilarious. Pascal Siakam, you guarded him and did a good job on him the last time you guys played when he went for 34 and 17. That didn't work out. All right, CJ Miles, you get a chance. LeBron looked like one of those cartoon characters when they put out the big steak in front of him with the saliva coming out when CJ Miles started checking him. So that's your triumvirate to go try to check LeBron James. So if it's not going to be them, who is it going to be? The Celtics? Well, if the Celtics were healthy, but they're not, and they're not going to be. The Celtics with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie and Marcus Smart, now that's a discussion.
But that
team has not existed but for 7 minutes all year. Philly, listen, I think Philly is the toughest matchup for them, but you simply don't go in the NBA from not making the playoffs to winning your conference. That's never how this goes, unless, like we saw the Celtics do it when they added KG and Ray Allen. That's an outlier. Usually there's a progression. Look at the progression the Thunder had. The Thunder went from not making the playoffs to facing to taking the Lakers to 6 in the first round, to the next year going to the Western Conference Finals against the Mavericks, to then making the finals. So who's the answer to the question if it's not Cleveland? You have LeBron playing offensively as well as he's ever played, and the point he made there is important. They have played 0 games this year with their actual lineup. So whatever we think they are right now, theoretically, and I believe they should be better once they are healthy, and George Hill should be back before the postseason. So, I mean, who are the favorites in the East? The team with LeBron has been the case for the last decade. You see?
Just pause for silence. Nick, right? You were right. That's something I'm trying to teach you.
Oh!
I'm trying to teach you also.
Let me take it and I'll say it one more time, please.
Nick Wright was right about Cleveland. I was concerned. Jenna, you were concerned. And it's not as if we're not fans of LeBron's or fans of the Cavs. It was what was playing out in front of our eyes. I mean, multiple lineups. Let's go back. Kyrie forces a trade. He wasn't happy. Forces a trade out of Cleveland. Man, LeBron hadn't played without no superstar like Kyrie. Like, how are they going to be able to get it done? And it's not our fault. Toronto, they are a better team. They're still just not as good as Cleveland. I mean, they got the best record at home. They got a great record on the road, 24 and 15. Their bench, it is deeper. The younger players, man, they are developing. But they still don't have no answer for the guy in Cleveland, in LBJ. And if he has a competent lineup with him, he has shown that he is you have to have an answer to him. And no one in the East has an answer to him unless it would be Philadelphia. And that would be not an answer to him, it would be Joel Embiid, who they wouldn't have an answer for. So no one in the East has an answer for LeBron. The only way you can fight that is to be able to have someone who is a once every generation type player in Joel Embiid. So to me, Toronto, these last 2 losses to Cleveland, oh, these were critical. I mean, these are critical losses. And, Nick, you and I were talking last night, and I just believe that a team that is trying to be special, and if Toronto, if their goal is trying to win an NBA championship, bring that championship to Toronto the first time, you question some of the judgment of their leaders.
I don't love what Kyle Lowry did. Kyle Lowry, I know you went to Villanova. I know you were part of what became this program. You are their biggest recruiting tool for 5 stars because you're the best pro they have.
Yes.
I get all that. You cannot be in San Antonio at a 9:20 East Coast tip-off for the national championship game the day before back-to-backs against Cleveland and Boston. And if you are going to make that decision, if you are going to say, I can be and don't worry about it, what was he, 5 points last night?
I had to steal you.
What you can't be is 2 for 11 with 5 points after that. Like, I saw it.
People won't be thinking about and looking about, but when you have the type of athletic maturity, like you know these 2 games, and Boston was only 2 games behind them going into last night's game.
With the tiebreaker, and you play them on a back-to-back tonight. Like, Boston ended up losing last night, which helps them to where they now have some breathing room for the 1 seed. But this all falls apart on you if at the end of the year, after this great season, oh, guess what?
Right.
We're not even the 1 seed. We're all this up, and I am not saying Kyle Lowry necessarily would have played better had he not been in San Antonio.
But we wouldn't have to look at it.
But it was the worst game of the year for him. And you have talked about, CeCe, how because the roster is so new in Cleveland, these guys, aside from LeBron and Love and JR and Tristan, don't have the repeated history of beating these dudes in the head. And so they don't have that confidence. And some of the bench players on Toronto, they also don't have the feeling of these guys always beat us. This was an opportunity after you blew a game 2 weeks ago, and your team leader is in San Antonio the night before and goes for 5 points, worst game of the year. I don't love that. I don't love it, Kyle.
All right, Cavs win 9 of their last 10 games. Can't believe Nick was right. Nick was right, said CeCe. Nick, coming up, let's go back to some football.
Best thing is we're on to the next subject. He's going to be wrong.
Brandon Cooks make the Rams the best team in the NFC. Next on First Things First.